Clear here, sir. No motion sensor strip.
Michael Bay's explosive action masterpiece starring Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. Let's get straight into The Rock, filmed in 1996. Behind the firefights, car chases, and legendary one-liners lie 20 wild facts you probably never knew. From Connery's secret demands to Cage's improvisations, let's uncover what really happened making this blockbuster. 1. The defining action film of 1996. While it didn't bag an official Best Action Film trophy, critics and fans overwhelmingly call The Rock the definitive action movie of 1996. At the box office, it pulled in over $335 million worldwide. That led it to top the year's action charts. Basically, in 1996, if you weren't watching The Rock, you weren't rocking.
Enjoying this?
Well, it's certainly more enjoyable than my average day. Reading philosophy.
2. Connery's weird request. Sean Connery refused to waste time commuting by boat. He asked producers to build him a cabin on Alcatraz during filming so he could live there. And guess what? They actually agreed. Imagine waking up inside the world's most infamous prison while also being James Bond. That's a maximum security method acting at its finest. 3. Who almost played Mason? Believe it or not, Arnold Schwarzenegger was offered the role of John Mason before Sean Connery signed on. At the time, Arnold was riding high on hits like True Lies and Terminator 2. He passed, saying the script felt unfinished, but later admitted turning it down was one of the biggest regrets of his career. As surprising as that sounds, Connery's gravitas and charm made Mason unforgettable, proving sometimes the character chooses the actor, and not the other way around. 4. A hidden James Bond connection. Mason mentions British Secret Service training in the film. That's a clever Easter egg. Sean Connery, of course, was the original James Bond. So yes, Mason is essentially a retired spy with 007-level skills. It's fan service disguised as dialogue, and for Bond fans it was a sly wink. 5. Maestro. Cage described Connery as being someone who was like an uncle. He called him Maestro on set every day. You want to know Connery's advice? He said, "Walk into a room. In a way, people just know someone has walked in." He said, "Don't just walk in, but make the room your stage," and then lived his own advice all his life. 6. Real Navy SEALs. When the Navy SEAL team stormed Alcatraz, many weren't actors. They were actual Navy SEALs. Their movements, tactics, and gun handling added authenticity. Meanwhile, the actors tried not to look out of place. Can you imagine pretending to be tough and a real SEAL walks in, casually correcting your stance between takes? 7. Alcatraz stayed open. During the early weeks of production, Alcatraz was still open to tourists while filming took place. The actors tried to shoot a tense action scene, only for a group of visitors with cameras to wander through the background. Some tourists even shouted lines at the actors, making retakes necessary. Eventually, the disruptions became so frequent that the crew had to shut down large sections of the prison to the public. 8. Tarantino's part in the script. The credited writers are Jonathan Hensleigh and Aaron Sorkin, but the script secretly had another hand, and that was Quentin Tarantino. Though uncredited, he polished some dialogue. You can almost sense it in those sharp exchanges between Mason and Goodspeed. That hint of Tarantino-style rhythm might just be his fingerprints hidden in Bayhem. 9. The needle scene. Remember when Goodspeed stabs his own heart with a giant needle? That's atropine, a real drug found in deadly nightshade. In reality, the margin between a safe and lethal dose is razor thin. Cage's character survives, but in real life, one wrong calculation, and it's lights out permanently. 10. The reality of Alcatraz. Working inside Alcatraz wasn't nearly as exciting as the movie made it look. Crew members described the environment as damp, claustrophobic, and rank with mildew. Ventilation was poor, so smoke from pyrotechnics and dust lingered in the air. Actors often complained about headaches and sore throats after long days in its cramped corridors. Nicolas Cage's panicked energy in scenes may have partly been method acting, but a lot of it came from actually gasping in stale, muggy prison air. Basically, Alcatraz itself was an uncredited villain. 11. Mayhem began here. Michael Bay had already directed Bad Boys, but The Rock cemented his trademark style, sweeping low angles, constant slow motion, golden sunsets, and explosions bigger than your uncle's 4th of July fireworks stash. This was the movie where Mayhem was born, and Hollywood never looked back. 12. Connery stood up to Disney executives. When Disney executives doubted Michael Bay's direction, Sean Connery personally marched into a meeting with them. So when James Bond tells you to back off, you do so without further delay. Just like the studio relented, Connery's intervention gave Bay the freedom to finish his vision. Without him, The Rock might have crumbled. If you want to know more behind-the-scenes secrets that they tried to hide from you, hit that subscribe button, because Nicolas and Sean's brilliance is coming up next. 13. Cage went off script constantly. Nicolas Cage didn't just perform his lines, he literally reinvented them. Many of his best moments were improvised on the spot, including the "I drive, you shoot." Cage has a reputation for unpredictable acting choices, and here it paid off. His chaotic improvisations gave Stanley Goodspeed a quirky personality, balancing Connery's stoic Mason. Michael Bay even encouraged Cage to experiment, realizing the randomness was cinematic gold. It's why Goodspeed feels less like a generic action hero and more like an eccentric scientist forced into chaos, and that's because Cage was truly winging it. 14. The San Francisco car chase. The Ferrari versus Hummer chase destroyed real San Francisco streets. Filming permits were limited, so parts of the sequence were shot guerrilla style. Locals thought an actual police chase was happening. Some residents even called 911. Imagine explaining, "Relax, it's just Michael Bay again." Pure cinematic anarchy. 15. Mason's map memory. Did you know that Connery himself was behind some of Mason's abilities? That's right, he suggested the character could memorize Alcatraz's tunnels like a human compass. The writers loved it. They decided to add it to the script, and needless to say, it added all the more depth. This way, Mason wasn't just an old spy. He was practically a living map. That's what you call a Bond-level touch. Only Connery could demand, and it made Mason even more legendary. 16. Who refused to play a cartoon villain? Ed Harris approached General Hummel differently than most action villains. He told the writers he wouldn't play him as a heartless terrorist, but as a principled Marine trying to right a wrong. Hummel's crusade to compensate fallen soldiers' families gave his character depth and complexity. Harris even toned down scenes where Hummel could have looked too ruthless, ensuring audiences saw him as conflicted rather than cruel. That decision turned him into one of the most sympathetic villains of the 90s, proving moral gray areas are often more compelling than pure evil. 17. Echoes in Hollywood. Sean Connery wasn't just the star of The Rock, he had clout. When signing on, Connery insisted the film be shot primarily in San Francisco rather than Hollywood soundstages. Why? He wanted authenticity and believed audiences could feel the difference when real locations were used. Producers agreed, even arranging luxury accommodations for him on a golf course nearby. That decision paid off, and all those gritty Alcatraz shots and sweeping Golden Gate Bridge views gave the film its iconic look and a realism audiences still praise today. 18. Script rewrites. The Rock's script was rewritten endlessly, and numerous people worked together to give us one of our favorite films. Sorkin added sharp dialogue. Tarantino polished banter. Bay cut scenes to make room for explosions. The result was chaotic, but strangely perfect. It's proof that sometimes too many cooks can still serve a delicious meal, provided the last chef adds fireballs. You're loving this drama, right? If that's a yes, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another wild deep dive. 19. Tourists shut down the set. At first, production allowed tourists to keep visiting Alcatraz, but the interruptions quickly spiraled out of control. Curious visitors wandered into restricted areas, snapping photos, and sometimes walking straight through takes. Security tried escorting them out, but the prison layout made it hard to keep everyone contained. Eventually, the filmmakers decided enough was enough and closed Alcatraz to the public for the rest of the shoot. Ironically, while the movie depicts Cage and Connery breaking into Alcatraz, in real life the bigger issue was people constantly breaking in.
I want 16, Major. Move it!
20. Nicolas Cage still defends the movie. To this day, Nicolas Cage calls The Rock one of his favorite action films. He praises working with Connery and says the film shaped his career. For a guy who's stolen cars, hunted treasure, and battled killer bees, that's high praise. Cage knows this movie truly rocks, and we do too.
Then his shepherd will be attached to his hip. You breathe, he breathes with you. You piss, he helps.
The next time you see The Rock, I bet you'll remember that it wasn't just a blockbuster. It was a perfect storm of bold casting, behind-the-scenes drama, and cinematic luck. Few action films blend heart, humor, and sheer spectacle as well as this one. It is Michael Bay's greatest movie, or just his loudest. I'll let you decide that. And before you do, subscribe for more movie facts you never saw coming.